Welcome to the Julie Chan Show, where passion meets purpose. I am so excited to be joined today by Mary Jo Lorei. Mary Jo is a transformational coach, has just recently, hot off the press, written her book, and let's show it to us. So beautiful, practical inspirations. I love what's on the bumper, where the bumper sticker meets the road. And don't we have so many bumper stickers in life that just tend to be the bumpers in life that we need to overcome? And your coaching is incredible. You and I met in a relationships course, but you teach lots of different courses.
I do.
What was your passion, and when did that begin to become a coach?
Oh, wow. If I were to really go back to the beginning of how I ended up here, it was without having any idea that I would ever be a facilitator or a coach. What I've always had a gift for and a strong desire to develop since I was as far back as I can remember is being able to listen to other people. Like I could hear things other people couldn't hear. Like I heard what was being said, but then I could hear what was underneath what was being said. And I found this kind of affinity through it. So it brought me through multiple careers and jobs as that, like being almost a professional listener, because I went from being a bartender to being a hairstylist to being a transformational facilitator and self-mastery mentor. So all of that deep listening, the privilege of being able to hear someone, the joy, and I think the success is really what it feels like when other people feel heard. Mm-hmm. Has led me into so many life-affirming and life-giving experiences. So that's really where the passion starts. And then seeing as an adult and as I began to create results in my own life, to feel how that kind of power could really change lives. So it changes the individual's world. And when you change an individual's world, the world changes.
Yes.
So now that's my passion.
I love it. And you've realized through your own life and through all of those that you've touched that you change your own life first and then those around you. And it's that ripple effect, right? And ultimately the world.
Always. When human beings recognize the most important power in their life is the power from within, real change occurs. And it's throughout history. It's been studied by better masters than me, but I have experienced it firsthand enough times that, you just can't pretend not to know that's true.
What I really love about transformational coaching and the kind of work you do versus therapy is that sometimes, many times, we go to therapy to get answers. But with coaches like you, especially you, it's about the journey within and that the answers are all inside of us and we have access to them and we know. But you are able to guide us there with the questions that people don't ask us and that we don't ask ourselves because we're so busy just trying to get to the answer. Somebody must know it besides us.
You know what? Can I just say how much I deeply appreciate the way you reveal your own process in this process? I love it. I love it so much. And I will say this, human beings on a fallback position pretty consistently are always looking for answers instead of awakening answers. And that's just part of the human condition. Yeah. So a good therapist, a good psychologist, a good coach, a good trainer will be the space for you to hear your answers. Like really in all those fields, that's really what comes. And where we often fail to recognize our own power by saying, I need someone else to give me the answer. Mm-hmm. We perpetuate that then because now the guru has the power instead of me.
Yes.
Instead of or the event or the relationship or the coach is the reason. No, they were the vehicle. You were the engine, always 100% of the time.
Yeah. And when was it that you decided you would write this book? And what is your greatest hope with the book?
Thank you for that. Such a great question. And as I oof my way through it, it took me 57 years to write this book because I'm 57.
So you've got a lot in there.
So it was very interesting to try and convey like how to produce a thing called a book and that dauntingness. And then for me to kind of where the rubber meets the road, take my own coaching that I've been giving others that are undertaking a big challenge or a big vision or a big accomplishment and really putting it to like challenging myself and my motivation and my intention and the gift of a very dear friend, Ben Whitehair, who's just a lovely, he's an advocate. He's on my team. I'm on his team. And he actually said, what if you've already written it? You just need to get it down.
Put it on paper.
And I went to my journals, some of the postings I've done. I'm prolific at producing, and I often don't hear it. And even people sending me, here's what you said to me. Here's what I heard, and then change it into a result in my life. And I began gathering those. And then as soon as I did, like the path opened up because it was already there. It was just a matter now of organizing it, polishing it, listening it from other lenses, and then coming up with, again, the purpose of the book, which my hope is every person who has it in their hand that opens it up meets themselves in a new way that has them fall in love in a way they hadn't before, or see some brilliance that they didn't recognize, or hear an answer that may have always been there, but they weren't tuning in or had too many filters in front of it. Mm-hmm. I designed it on purpose to have 52. There are 52 practical inspirations in there, and they're lens changers. That's simply all they are. A chance to see, feel, and hear self and approach to life in a way perhaps that isn't currently present.
Right.
And so it's a year journey for once a week. Mm-hmm. It is I've had people blow through the whole thing all at once, which made me laugh. Like, hey, I'm not going to question your digestion rate, but I do caution, don't just consume, make sure you digest. That's right. Where the real nutrition comes from.
Right. And hear what comes up for you based on that page.
I find out where you are in this moment, because when you read it, especially when you go through it again or come across the same one for a second time, you'll hear where you currently are in comparison to what you heard the last time you were there.
Because it depends on your circumstance that day, that week.
Or what you've built in between the last time and this time. Mm-hmm. What you've been practicing, where you've been putting your focus. So you can spontaneously just open it up and go, oh, yep, I can use that in this moment. And like I said, I love the book because it is recyclable. It's very, very current in its sustainability, because it can be used again and again and again, because who you are shifts and changes. So the next time you come to it, there'll be something new for you because there's something new in you.
Right. And I love and am so grateful that it is so easy to digest, because it's not this long book with 1 million pages and you have to sort through it. You open it, and whatever page you open to, you can trust that that's what you needed to hear that day. I love that. I mean, so I don't open a book. I mean, you see all these books behind me. I don't open a book at its first page. I never have. I open it in the middle, or I open it at the back. And that is how I start reading any book.
Oh my God, that's fascinating to me.
To read the first page it's so boring. It's so like, what? I would rather just never.
So that piques you, or that hooks you something further in, and then has you the motivation to start it? Oh my God, that's fascinating. I love your mind.
And so when I saw your book, I was like, this is my favorite kind of book. It is, you don't have to have read any other page to understand the page that you naturally open to. And every page is a true gift. Mary Jo, you are a gift, and this book is absolutely an incredible gem to me.
Oh, that's so
I love it.
wonderful. Thank you
I
so
was
much.
in
And
the
I want,
car.
I really want to respect that in our lives, you know, the amount of time when we really think we need a whole teardown and a restructuring and all of that. Like, I'm not trying to interrupt that at all, but the believing everything has to be huge for it to be impactful. You know, grain of sand makes a pearl. You just really don't know where it's going to come from. So when I did create this, there was some thoughtfulness in that in mind of how many people could use that breath of fresh air or that burst of energy or that whatever it is that could be generated, or even just a little self-kindness or an improvement on my self-talk or that I think of, like someone like you, busy mom, up to big things. I'm the same way with my family and my life. Sometimes if I've only got this amount of time, what do I want to generate with it? So I offered that pacing in it so that it's not sitting down for a year of meals,
Right.
like all at once.
Yes.
It's wonderful sized dishes to sample and taste. And
it genuinely is. And I'm just so grateful. And I wish I had it, but I have literally been carrying it around everywhere with me and
that's
taking it in when I can. So I couldn't find it anywhere because it could be in any nook and cranny at this point. So my question to you is, could you read us one of your favorite pages?
Oh, wow. One of my favorites.
I mean, I love all of them. I mean,
Ooh.
truly, I haven't read all of them yet, but everyone I've been
Well,
to.
I'm going to trust that the one I opened up to is the one it's supposed to be, because that was kind of my philosophy behind it. So, and I also love you picked up on, we even discussed the size of the book, being that it has so many photographs in it. Should it be coffee table size? And I went, I see this book in backpacks,
Yep.
in briefcases, in purses.
It fits in my computer bag. I thought it was there. It wasn't there this time.
Okay, this is my first public reading. So if I get shy, just hang in there with me.
You're never shy.
This is, oh, you'd be surprised, being the best versus being my best. Consider all the time that gets spent and sometimes wasted on being the best or being perfect or at least being above the rest. Competing and comparing can be exhausting because it takes a lot of energy to constantly measure oneself against others. It burns a lot of energy to make sure to stay ahead and stay ahead and stay ahead, especially since you've got to keep looking over your shoulder to stay there. Whew. And yuck. I'm not against competition. It can sometimes spark an effort that's missing otherwise. And I love that. That added enough oomph to spur on what I didn't know I had until I called on it. I love that. However, when competition to be the best permeates all over life, look more closely at the prize. If I am the best, I end up in a category alone, all by myself. Mm-hmm. The best is a table for one. By definition, best means no one else is included. Now, being my best doesn't eliminate the competition because I'm not competing with others. I'm honoring my best on a measuring system for me. And my best welcomes others and their best. My best is a table for everyone. So next time you're feeling unhealthy pressure or exhaustion or burnout, check in. Where have you missed out on being your best, which, let's face it, no one is better at than you, because you've become distracted by a need to be the best. It is important to be aware of this in our current reality of social media comparisons. So I offer this. No one is ever going to be better at being you than you. They're being them. And if you compete, you will never win that contest. By being the best you, aka my best, you are already always winning.
I love it. That is beautiful. What came up for me is the best, maybe is ego. My best is authentic. It's who I am.
Oh, it's so beautiful, honey. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I love that. I love that you went to that page. It brought up a lot for me. I have 3 teenage daughters. The best, the competition, the getting into college is at the height over here in my house.
Absolutely. And again, for young people, especially young females, there's a compare and contrast that pressurizes. So young males, females, non-binary, all in between, their measuring stick is usually someone else. And what they crave and what we encourage, and sometimes not successfully, is there is no one else but like you. So how do you compare that? So again, even I've been through it with my my partner's kids that are just amazing, and they've all been athletic, they've all done scholastically, they've all done all these different, and to try and balance that, improve my performance of competition without it becoming my wins and losses are who I am. That's a real balancing.
Absolutely is. Takes a lot of getting to your core, knowing yourself, sitting with yourself, being okay with yourself.
Right. And when it's my best, because as I hear and listen you, what again kind of comes back, this is why this work works like this, it's dynamic, is I have to define best when it's mine. Put some responsibility on me. What is my best? Well, that requires me to come up with my own definition of what best love is, best caring is, best action is, best. So that totally responsibility comes in and then creates ultimate freedom instead of looking for where I'm supposed to plug into what already exists.
Right.
Because your best
is all inside. The answer is inside. It's not out there.
Yeah. And then I'm using your definition, not mine. And then I might be winning or losing, but I'm unsatisfied with the results.
Right.
So I have a runner who is amazing in her best. And she introduced me to somebody that she used to run with who doesn't run to win. And it makes her coaches nuts because sometimes she could win, but she didn't always, because that wasn't her driving force. It was about her body working. It was about capacity, and it was about consistency. Like running for her was all these other things. And I was so fascinated that a teenager could be that self-aware that I run for me. Yeah. And then I'll still show up as the best possible I can for my team.
Right.
Right.
That's beautiful. And that's hard, really hard, to do anything for yourself as opposed to what others want, what your parents want, pleasing. It's really hard. And that's actually been a constant question for me, is how do you help your kids out of or help them to see what they want, what motivates them intrinsically in their own heart, not what I want for them. If I have inadvertently given you my expectation, like, don't go there, go to your own heart. But how do I help them hear that?
Well, this is going to be the coach coming out. If you want to be heard, what's more important, your mouth or your ears?
Your ears.
Right? That old Jewish proverb, we have 2 ears, 1 mouth. So that's the ratio that should be happening in all good communications. There should be twice as much listening as there is speaking. And that's true with kids. It's true with adults. It's true with clients. Like if I really want to convey something, then I've got to listen ever deeper. To find out, again, because you're talking something so valuable right now, Julie, which is what matters to them, what's important to them. And knowing that the landscape changes pretty frequently in younger years. So how can I listen? How can I listen for the patterns? What's consistent? What keeps showing up? What's changed? What's new? Because that's that gift that you give them, Julie, of them feeling heard, will have them express when they know even what they're expressing is only going to be temporary.
Mm.
And then they can get clearer on what they're expressing that they want to have long term. Right?
Yes.
Yeah, so good.
You are just the master coach.
I'm
You
not
do
sure if I was
private
coaching or mentoring there, but
you do coaching, private coaching, mentoring, as well as group workshops, right?
yes, the higher volume of where I spend my time is the bigger group environment. So most weekends I am in a training virtually, or now we're back to getting into person. But then I do take some private clients, but that is a little bit limited because of my travel schedule. So, but I do both because I do love the one-on-one and what can happen and move and shift when it's that, and what it can teach me then when I'm in the group environment. And then the group environment helps teach me how I can be with individuals. So the two are important for me to both have and make sure that they support each other.
You mentioned earlier your passion for listening and that it was truly a gift you were born with to listen to others. And in every job you ever had, I think where you succeeded in any job is that you were always listening and always connecting with people. So in what you do now, how is that listening? How have you seen that listening serve you in an even greater capacity? So showing our viewers really that when you take a passion that's been lifelong, how you change and how you re-access it and see it in even bigger ways.
Well, if I'm going to have a relationship with anything, especially something I'm passionate about, it's got to stay fresh. I've got to be in discovery about it all the time. Otherwise, it starts to become what already is instead of what I'm currently creating. So, especially because it's passionate, it requires me to want to engage in it in new ways, to open myself to what I can learn about it. And listening is one of those things, because as I grow in my knowledge and what I know to be true and all of that, those will start to become filters that I listen through. So I challenge that all the time. And as I said, any relationship, whether it's with a person or an ideal or a passion or a commitment or a goal or whatever it is, if I want to stay current in it, if I want to keep it vital and alive and vibrant, it requires me to show up with what could I possibly discover, not look for what I'm already expecting.
That's beautiful. What can I discover, not what am I expecting?
Yeah.
Because the discovery is the open mind, right? The expecting is the expectation. It's what, it's really actually what sort of keeps us small, right? Because if we're expecting, we're not actually living in abundance. We're living in scarcity and fear of that's going to be it. Maybe.
Well, it can be those extremes, and it can be the degrees in between. But expectation, this is a huge surprise to me and all of your viewers.
I mean, I am me.
And God knows you're good at it. But that is true, because I don't want people to think just if I have expectations, I'm automatically in scarcity. But expectation is limiting. So you're limiting your possibility. And abundance does live in possibility. So if abundance is important to you, then that openness, that expectation is what already is. And years ago, I had a sponsor, an Al-Anon member, and she said, and it's not hers. I mean, it's been passed multiple places, but I just remember the moment it hit me and it woke me up. An expectation is just a resentment under construction. And I went, wait, what? She goes, look at every resentment. There was an expectation that led you there. So watch those expectations, girl. Isn't that great?
That's so great.
It's so good. So expectations, like we have them for safety reasons, and we like to know the terrain, and there's some certain part of our survival brain that wants expectations because we know, we want to know what we need to manage.
Right.
And then, but again, I think of long-term relationship, and I will say this to my last breath. My relationship, which is becoming marriage this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you, which is still just mind-blowing for me. Uh, even after 9 years and where we're headed to for the next, I told him I'd give him 30 years and then we're going to see if it's working out. So we got another 21 years. I want a lifetime of first kisses.
I love that.
Because even kissing, I'll go for what I'm expecting and I'll miss what possibilities there this time. So I've never been in this kiss before. Yeah. And I can't say I do it every single time, but when I remember, or he remembers, or we remind each other, it's the only kiss, the one that's happening right then.
I love it. I'm a hopeless romantic, That is so good.
And that's that discovery and how I can, set down the expectation to open new possibility.
That is beautiful.
It's yummy.
Never gonna forget that.
It's yummy.
It's so yummy. I love it. So sweet. Oh my gosh. If we all thought that way, right? Every kiss is different. Every kiss is a brand new kiss.
Everyone has the potential. Yeah. So expectations, not a problem until they're a problem. So if they're driving, yeah, then I am limiting my possibilities. And if I'm truly want to be abundant, open it up, stay passionate. Anyone that's listening, you've got a passion, you've got a long-term goal, you're raising kids, you're in whatever it is you're in that you want the long haul. Like you got to come back in and kiss it for the first time on a regular basis. If you do that, you'll notice that what you're spending feels more like an investment than a spending. And you will reinvigorate through the cycle of connection to it, why it matters, what I can discover, how can I meet it this time. You'll find that your results can increase while your stress and efforts become less.
So good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is, especially in a time, we've been in a long time of stress. Right? And
I have worked more with fatigue with people in the last 2 years than ever before. Yeah. And right now it's at its peak. Mm-hmm. People are fatigued. Yeah. And as much
and they need to invigorate passion.
But then when the ego wants to insult, well, sure, invigorate passion. That's not going to get rid of a virus. Yes, thank you for sharing, ego. Here's your pacifier. Get back in your car seat. What I'm saying is, like, even as I do virtual experiences, because they're still on the radar and people are getting weary, that I start with me first. Am I going to judge how this isn't in person, or am I going to take advantage of the opportunities that this vehicle is offering me? Do I really want to create connection? Then the vehicle doesn't matter. In fact, my creativity will be sparked because this vehicle changes what I'm used to doing. So the fatigue and, again, my empathy, because I'm feeling it in my own household, in my own heart, that is what I do know to be true. Mm-hmm. Check in with what is fatiguing. And it's often how we're interpreting, not the thing we're interpreting. Right. So, yeah. And I bless everybody listening that honor that you are in a long haul with multiple things, and fatigue is a natural occurrence, but don't get seduced that it's outside of you. It's not something outside of you. It's how you're meeting what's around you. Mm-hmm. And you got this.
And you have a choice.
Mm-hmm.
For so sure. Beautiful. love your passion and your purpose and the way you inspire everyone who has the opportunity to hear you, meet you, feel you, know you, and your book. Show your book one more time.
And that's as snarky as it is, the bumper sticker meeting the road, because there's so much inspiration out there. I'm an inspiration junkie. I love it. I would walk around with an IV on carrying that bag everywhere I went, which actually is kind of what I do, because how I react to can inspire me in so many ways. And there's a great bumper sticker. There's a great meme. There's a great quote I heard, but it won't impact my life until I apply it in somehow, and not the inspiration itself, what it awoke in me.
Mhm.
So that's where this book is about, hearing yourself, because as you read it, I'm actually offering some connecting the dots to this concept. Now listen to your own life. What you're hearing, how can you impact?
This broadcast is brought to you by WINJECT Studios. We are an all-in-one educational platform for podcasters that revolutionizes how hosts leverage content to increase engagement with listeners, downloads, and income. We come together to focus on community, collaboration, and collective impact. For more information on how you can interact directly with our hosts, access exclusive live content with offers you can't get anywhere else from our official partners, join our purpose-driven community by visiting www.winject.com. If you're ready to build a career doing what you love, then we're ready to see you there.